Hi, everybody. Sam here. I am so excited to be here with my new friend, Victoria, today. I feel like we're not really new friends, though, because I got connected to her in a community on school. And then I've been following her a little bit on YouTube. And I feel like I've gotten to know a little bit more about who she is and how she shows up in the world. I'm very excited to have her for the micro interview series. If you are new to Safe Heart Connections, we're glad you found us. If you've been around for a while, we're glad you came back. I believe that you can create a life and a business you love one choice at a time. And I think that maybe you could learn something today from this micro interview that gets you one step closer to doing that. Victoria, welcome. I would love for you to share what I like to call your superhero origin story.
Okay, cool. Hi, my name is Victoria Paramore. I'm a freelance digital business manager. I like to think of myself as a organizer of entrepreneurial chaos. So really what that means is that if you are running a business and you find yourself trying to put out fires all of the time within that business, then I am likely the person that you'd bring on the team to help situate that and prevent fires from ever happening to begin with. My career really started when I decided to pursue a dream of doing martial arts of all things. I really wanted to go out and try karate or taekwondo, and I found this little taekwondo studio by my house, decided to sign up as a student, and before I knew it, I was working there. And it started as a part-time thing, and then it went to a full-time thing, and then it went to let me do this other job role, and it went to let me teach classes and let me do the director position, and then eventually we actually grew that little tiny martial arts studio into a multi six-figure company with several services with it. So it wasn't just martial arts anymore. It was after school program for kids. It was sports activities for kids. It was dance. It was fitness classes for adults and so much more. I stayed there. I was working there for about 9 years in total, close to a decade. And then I decided to just pursue my own independence and begin as a freelancer. And now I just take all of the same business systems and automations and marketing and team management and team training and all of the things that I learned running that business into my freelance work.
Yeah, that's so good. For anybody that's been around for a while, they probably know Safe Heart Connections is my passion project, but I also own an admin company. And we do some similar type things as you. But what I have found is that I'm really leaning in more, and I think I mentioned this to you on a message. We're really leaning in more on the client care piece and helping the clients we work with show appreciation to their clients, team vendor partners, so that they keep their clients longer and get more referrals. And so I'm actively been looking for people like you that if I find a client that needs more of a high touch, actual online business manager kind of role, that maybe it's not a good fit for what we're doing, then I can refer them to people that I have begun
Appreciate
to
that.
develop relationships with. So,
I'm a
um,
huge planner at heart, so I love project planning. I love planning out what the customer journey should look like for a certain business. I love workflows and automations and all that kind of nerdy stuff. Like my dream is to hop into a business where I really like the vision that the business is trying to do. Like I love sports activities, arts and crafts, anything creative in that realm is a lot of fun. I've worked with a lot of video game companies at this point. That's been a lot of fun. But I love hopping in and establishing order and establishing organization within the company. That's my
yeah,
job.
so many of the clients we work with, and probably the same for you, is that they are really good at what they do, but they didn't start their business to
Oh, yeah.
be the
No.
person that does all the other things,
Yeah.
right? And so I'm really, if you haven't read it yet, maybe you have. You haven't read the book Who Not How.
Yes.
Highly recommend it. I was doing Who Not How before I read the book, and I'm like, "Oh, he wrote and he put down in words what I do."
Yeah. Who Not How is fantastic. I also would recommend this to all of your audience, which is essentialism. Essentialism is all about learning to say no to things that are not really supposed to be in your wheelhouse. And it's really great for the people pleasers out there, learning how to say no and set boundaries for other people. And it's a really fantastic book.
I've heard of it, but I haven't read it. I'll make
It's
sure it gets on my list.
probably my number one favorite, like self-help productivity type of book. It's so good.
My favorite is the book called The Gap in the Game,
Yep.
which was written by the same people that wrote Who Not How, and it changed my life.
Yeah.
Literally, the processes and part of what I teach in Safe Heart Connections with the 7 minute gratitude blueprint came from. what
Yeah.
I learned there. So
That's
yeah,
another.
I'm a big fan of finding what works for you and figuring out what you're good at and let everybody else do the rest.
That's right. Yeah. 100%. Absolutely.
Yeah, very good. Victoria, we've already shared a couple of tips and thoughts and things like that, but the kind of the cornerstone of these micro interviews is getting our guests to share one thought, tip, or piece of advice that could impact people that are watching's lives. So I would love for you to share something that you think could add value in some way.
Man, I feel like there's so many different ones, right? There's so many different things. I think I'm going to share a piece of advice that my dad actually told me once, and it was life changing for me. So, in the span of starting at this little tiny martial arts school and trying to grow it into this self sufficient, multi six figure company, we didn't just go from A to B and it was like smooth sailing the whole way. It definitely wasn't. There was a lot of late nights, there was a lot of chaos, there was a lot of fires, there were a lot of things that I did wrong personally. And I remember, like, I was 18, 19 years old at the time when I was starting to manage this place, and I was still living with my dad at the time, but I was the program director, and I came home one day, and I'm just like, "Dad, I'm not qualified for this. I don't know what I'm doing. I am bawling my eyes out. I am like, I am so stressed. I am so overworked. I am so underqualified to run a business. Like, why did the owner even trust me to be doing this job right now?" And my dad's advice was the best thing I've ever heard. He was like, "Honey, nobody knows what they're doing. You just use common sense and you use the resources that are available to you and you figure it out. And you're going to make mistakes and you pick up the pieces and you learn from that experience and you do it again and you're going to make more mistakes." And like, it's that kind of mentality, right? First of all, being told that nobody knows what they're doing was really like weightlifting for me. Like, understanding that I wasn't stupid, understanding that I wasn't like just it wasn't me, I wasn't the problem. It's just like a lack of experience, a lack of training.
You are
And
normal, just like the
yeah,
rest of us.
I'm 18, 19 years old for
Yeah,
one.
you were wait, hold 18 or 19 running that kind of business, you
Yeah.
were ahead of the curve.
Which at the time did not feel that way whatsoever. When you're 18 or 19 and you're in that position, you don't look at it like that. You don't look at it as, "Oh, I'm only 18 or 19. Look at me running a program." It's not at all how you look at it. You're going, "Oh my God, I have so much to do and I don't know how to do any of it." And you're like, this is not because I wasn't really trained on how to be the CEO of a company, but I became the CEO of a company simply because there was a need for it, simply because I really enjoyed what I was doing. And eventually I got to a point where I was like, I'm just going to figure it out as I go. But that thought process took some time to learn. And so I think the ultimate advice that I would have for the audience is understand that nobody knows what they're doing a lot of the time. If they're jumping into something new, you're not going to know what you're doing, and that's okay. That's normal. Use free resources. Find people who have already been there before that you can ask for advice from. Definitely learn some things. Go read some of these books we're talking about. Essentialism is fantastic. Good to Great is fantastic. All of Alex Harmondi's books that are out and the one that is coming out very soon are, I'm sure the new one's going to be fantastic too. But all of his previous ones are fantastic. Good to Great is fantastic. The Dip is really fantastic when you feel like quitting something. There's so many like business, self-help, productivity type books that are just
Sure.
incredible. And if you get into a habit of learning things, if you get into a habit of taking new courses, you get into a habit of talking with the right people, your life will change 100%.
I agree completely. The very first summit that I did for Sacred Connections a couple years ago, the theme was always be learning.
Yeah.
Because I truly believe if you're always learning something, you continue to grow. And sometimes I used to say grow and improve, but sometimes it's not even about improving. It's just about new information. And it doesn't mean that where you were wasn't already good. One of the things that, as you were talking, made me think of a system that I use. I don't know where I learned it from. I probably stole it from somebody. You just have to know it's good enough to copy. But I've been using it for years, and it's called Plan, Do, Review, Repeat. Plan, do, review, repeat. So you make your plan, you do the plan, And then you review it, see what worked, what didn't. And
Yep.
then you make the new plan. And as long as you don't stop, you continue to plan, do, review, repeat. Each time you do it, it's going to get better as
Yeah.
long as you're making the necessary changes. And yeah, learning that it's okay to not know everything. You don't, you, that's, you don't know everything. Nobody has it all together. And especially when you're first starting out, it's okay. It's to
Yeah.
be expected. Being willing to try something new is really important. I spoke with somebody else earlier today, and I was talking about a thought that I shared earlier this week that are you willing to fail? If you're not willing to fail, it means you're not going to try anything new.
Yeah. You really have to be willing to fail. You have to learn how to be resilient, as in, like, how quickly does it take you to get back up from failure? And if you can almost make yourself excited about failure, as weird as that sounds, if you can make yourself almost
Yeah,
excited
it's just
for it,
part of it. Yeah.
you
Like it's
just
just part of
will
it. You need to
progress
expect
so
it.
much faster. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a
I know.
fantastic book about that too, and it goes from a sales point of view, but the message could be applied to so many things even outside of sales, but it's called Go for No,
I
which is
was
all
just
about,
gonna say
like,
I was literally
yeah,
gonna say it.
instead of,
Yeah.
like, focused on how many yeses you get in a week, if we're talking about sales, for example, how many no's can you get in that week and how much further that's gonna progress you, and it's actually
Because
really
each
phenomenal
no
book.
helps you get to the yes.
Yeah.
It's so good.
It's such an interesting perspective flip that when you read it and you're like, "Huh, okay. I get this now. I see how this
Yeah.
works."
Yeah, well, this is really good. We could probably do this all day long. And I think I'll make sure that there's a list of the books on here that we mentioned where people can click through to get to them. And your links for social media and where they can reach out to you will be there as well.
Sounds great.
And I'm very excited to connect you with everybody in my world. Do you have any closing thoughts as we wrap up?
No, I don't think so. I think we said quite a bit. Just go out there and try something.
Yeah, just go out there and try something. We'll just leave it at that.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Victoria.
Thank you.